Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel of Conscious Creations. I'm really excited that you guys are here. I'm excited about this connection. I'm very passionate about creating content and contact together with you guys. And passion is somewhat the topic of today. The topic of today will be sexuality. And it's related to the last few videos that we have communicated together about manifestation and creation. So if you remember in the last one we touched about the feminine, masculine aspect of that, the plus and the minus, the active side and the passive side. And then we started touching the manifestation versus creation. Now, how does sexuality connects with all of that? If we are really honest with each other, sexuality is the most strongest force in this creation. At least it seems to be on the physical plane. It seems to be the most strongest force. It bounds to the law of attraction. It probably even emanates the law of attraction. So there's a magnetic structure, dynamic, that goes between masculine and feminine, plus and minus. And this is very much sexuality, or the sexual power, the sexual force. It's a driven power. Let's regress for a second and contemplate on the very basic creative powers. So we do things and we create things either out of love or out of fear. Both are the two sides of the things, the what is and the absent of it. Love, that strong emotional feeling that we have when we want very much to connect with each other, when we feel a connection within ourselves and we want that connection to expand to something else, something that we perceive outside of ourselves. And it's not necessarily another human being. It could be an animal. It could be an object. It could be something that we want to touch, that we want to experience. Even a thought can be an object for love, dream state. And this is something that we want to attract more into our life, right? I love something, I want more of that. There's a sweetness to it, there's something that I would like to expand on. And on the other side of that, the absence of love, it's what we call fear. It's what repels me, what rejects me from things. It's the opposite of attraction. It's something that I would try to avoid, go away from, or even push away from me. So on both aspects, both of those things, love and fear, there is an energy that is involving in it. In love, there is that energy of attraction. I want to bring something into my life. Therefore, for example, manifestation, right? I want to attract that into my life. Or the creative side of it, I am going to physically be active and get to something that I want. Try to squeeze life force out of that something that I want to experience. And the fear is the opposite, but we still put energy in it. We put energy in rejecting something. I don't want that. We put energy in going away from something, pushing something away from us. So the basic of those both things is energy. I am putting energy in repelling it, rejecting it, or in attracting it. It's very important, because where you put your focus and your intent in, this is where you create. Create is through putting an intention there, focusing on it through the third eye, and bringing my life force, my energy into that thing, into doing that, into attracting that, into bringing that into fulfillment. And therefore it is. It's really simple. We don't even think about it. There's a wheel of power, a will and a will that is going inside of us and putting us into action and into creation. Now again, what is the connection between that and sexuality? Sexuality is the most strongest attraction force that we know. It started from the split, from the very first split, when the union, when the spirit, one source, God, split it into two parts in order to be able to communicate, interact, and most of all, reflect upon itself, to have a look on itself. What am I? Who am I? What is going on? I need another point of view, another point of perception to understand what is going on, to experience, to interact with that. There comes, to that point comes also awareness and consciousness. And that point, there is a pull between those two. When the split started, there was an energy that came out of that. And that energy is cycling in that sphere, because those two things are only separate in a concept. They are only seemingly separate. There's an illusion of separation, right? Because they both know that they were once one. And they both have that attraction, not only to understand. The attraction started from, I want to understand that, I want to experience that, to devour it. And the attraction is also an, I belong to that. There's a strong, strong sense in those two polars that they belong to each other, that they come from the same source, from the seed of life. And sexuality is that force. Sexuality comes from the Vesica Pisces. Vesica Pisces. This is when the one splits into two, and then there is that point here. Do you see that? That point in between. That is the interaction point. This is the part that both parts of the split are sharing. And this is, from that becomes our mouth and also the womb, the vagina, and our third eye. So these are not only the communication points, how we interact with life, through our mouth, through our genitals, through our eyes, also through our hands. This is also how we express life. We express life through our third eye, we express life through our mouth, and we express life through our genitals, through our anus, and through our vagina or through our penis. Now, there is a lot of negativity that was put upon it, a lot of secrecy, but sacred comes from sacred, which is related to sacral chakra. It is sacred, and it is also a secret. Why? Because there's a lot of misconception around sexuality. There's a lot of misunderstandings about sexuality, and the reason is because the ancient knew that that is the force of creation. And as much as it is a force of creation, it belongs into a dual world, and the other side of it is destruction. We spoke about it in the other video, that when you have the power to create, you equally have the power to destroy. And creation and destruction go together. Think about it. When you want to create a meal, then you have to take the parts that will make that meal. Let's say it's a fruit or a vegetable. And you have to cut them, to destroy them, to dissect them, to cook them, to boil them. And then you create something new, right? And even that, you devour, you destroy again. So it can be part of your body and build up who you are again, create who you are all around. That's the wheel. So you cannot take creation without understanding destruction. And those two powers are one. So this is why there is a lot of secrecy and sacredness around sexuality, because that force has the power to destroy as much as it has the power to create. Now let's look at life again. The biggest creation that we as humans are capable of is giving birth to the next generation. The human body and timeline, experience on earth, it's the biggest gift, the biggest creation that we can do and have in this reality. And that is achieved through sexuality, through sexual interaction. Sexual interaction, that force that compels you to unite with somebody else. And that beauty and that love and that passion that drives you creates a human being. And that human being evolves and comes out of the womb and is given a lifetime, a stream of line upon which it can experience life and express itself. This is the ultimate creation, creating life itself. And it has been done to sexuality. So there's still a lot to speak about that. I look at the time, 12 minutes, it's fair. Before we continue speaking more about that, we will leave that for the next video. Let us breathe together with sexuality. I invite you to close your eyes, to find solace within and calmness on the inside. And let's take a moment with this concept of sexuality and acknowledge that we are sexual beings and that sexuality is a driven force, and it comes from the passion of life, the passion to be in life and the passion to create life. Let's hold this for a second as we take a deep breath in. Cherish that gift that we got from Mother Earth and from Father Sky, and release that. We are powerful beings, and that power has the capability of creating and destroying, and it derives from attraction and rejection. And the connecting point, that magnitude between those, is what we call sexuality. That's it. That is what we call sexuality, is the magnitude between the polars, between the plus and the minus, between what I have and what I don't, between being and creating. Let's breathe with that. Sink in with that. Give forgiveness to whatever other concepts that are attached to this, or better say misconceptions that we have with that. Let's give freedom to those misconceptions. Let's release them, and let's take ownership of the power that we got by being born into this reality. The power of sexuality, the power that is composed in our sexual being. and transform it into beauty. Thank you, my friends, for being here with me. Take this with you outside today to the world and express your love.